Welcome into Two Pros and a Joe. I'm really excited about this. I'm Scraby. I'm the Joe, and we got the two pros. We have Greg Camarillo and we have Marcus McNeil. Greg played in the NFL for 8 years with the Chargers, the Dolphins, the Saints, and the Vikings. Marcus played 6 years as the left tackle for the Chargers, and I had 1 sack in high school. So that is my extent of my football playing career.
Big sack, though, right? Scraby, big sack.
Oh, I still have the film, guys. I still have the film from like 2003. Don't even worry about that. I will watch that till the day I die because it's the only thing I got to hang my hat on. But really, what we're doing here with this podcast, we want to put this together to talk football, but get both perspectives. We want to get the pros perspective from you guys who have actually been there in the trenches, on the field. And then I'm going to bring the fan questions because I've never been on the field and I've never been in the trenches. So I want to help people bridge that gap between the pros and the fans. So really excited to do this. And we're going to get going right here. Greg, do you have anything to say before we get started?
Yeah, and bringing 3 perspectives, the fan perspective, and then I'm a receiver. So I'm giving you all the diva perspectives, all the guys on the outside, the skill positions. And Big Mac spent his time in the trenches. So things that I have no clue about, Big Mac can give us the perspective from down there where the going gets rough.
Yeah, it definitely gets rough. Marcus, what are you thinking about this podcast? Is there anything that you want to really accomplish by doing this?
Man, you know what? Just give an insight to football, like you say, from a player's perspective. Just knowing the game. A lot of times, people see the game and they wonder about decisions, but you got to feel a team and you got to know a team to really know like how it works in the locker room. So hopefully we can give all our fans some insight into like the mind of a football player. We done took a couple of bangs up against the head, so I think we got enough clout to say that we know what we're doing.
Oh yeah, you guys have 14 years combined in the NFL, so this is going to be cool. And as a producer who's worked with Nick Hardwick and worked with other athletes like Tony Gwynn Jr., I've realized that there is a big difference between the way a normal Joe looks at the game and the way the game is actually played. So. That's what we're going to do here, and we're going to get started. We're going to get right into it with a segment we call Big Decisions, and we're just going to bring up 3 different topics, and we're going to present the situation, and then you guys are going to, or we're going to go through and say what our decision is. And the first one that we're going to talk about tonight is the Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas. He was dealing with a high ankle sprain. He's been out all of the year pretty much except for the first game. But he missed the last night's game on Monday Night Football because he punched his teammates. So he was benched and he was suspended by the coach, Sean Payton. Now, I've been reading into this a little bit, and it seems like more of the issue was with the way Michael Thomas handled his reaction to Sean Payton and some of the coaching staff. There are people out there like the Athletic's Jeff Duncan reporting that his fight with C.J. Gardner-Johnson wasn't the only thing. It was just how disrespectful he came off after the situation. So Sean Payton, the head coach of the Saints, also said that he doesn't know if this is going to be a 1-game suspension or if it's going to be a bigger suspension. He said he's going to let everyone know, quote unquote, when the time is right. So let's get started. Greg, would you have benched Michael Thomas this week for punching his teammate in practice?
Absolutely not. It was not Drew Brees that punched someone, so why are we punishing Drew Brees? We've seen him play without Michael Thomas. He is not the same. Let's find the hell out of Michael Thomas. Let's find some way to punish him. But when you take Michael Thomas away from the Saints, you are punishing the entire team. His behavior sucks, but I don't want to lose, and they almost lost this week. I don't want to lose because Michael Thomas is out of the game.
But doesn't that kind of give the rest of the team an okay to do some stuff like that, kind of apologize later type of thing? Or is it just simply because Michael Thomas is that good that he is going to be held to a different standard?
Yeah, I played with Marty Schottenheimer here in San Diego, one of the most respected coaches out there, and he told us you're going to get as many chances as you are worth. Michael Thomas is worth a lot of chances. I am going to give him a lot of chances. If that's Greg Camarillo punching someone, yeah, bench him, suspend him for years. But Michael Thomas needs to be on the field. He's worth a lot. You got to give him more shots.
All right, Marcus, what do you think? Should Michael Thomas, would you have suspended him and benched him for this game against the Chargers on Monday night?
The only way I suspend Michael Thomas is if the punch was that weak that he doesn't deserve.
Come on, Mike, get in the weight room.
Yeah, get in the weight room, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you hit like a girl. Like, you need to take this week off. Maybe your ankle was messed up still. I could tell you couldn't really, get your footing right whenever you were trying to hit. But I just don't see it, especially with football being such a contact and violent sport. Like, tempers flare all the time, on field, in practice, especially in practice when you're battling back and forth, but whenever you bring in the disrespectful part of it, I can understand the coaching staff actually wanting to set an example, because you never want to allow somebody's attitude to become a cancer for the team, regardless of how important you are. And they have plenty of weapons. You saw Cook out there, you saw Hill and Kamara. Everybody showed up this weekend for them to actually come back and beat the Chargers. So they have weapons, but Michael Thomas actually put that icing on the cake. So when you have them, it's like, it's really hard to defend the New Orleans Saints.
That's an interesting point. Like, when does it turn in practice from just a practice fight to something more personal? Because that's what it sounds like this was. It sounds like this was a one-on-one, mano-a-mano issue between Sean Payton and Michael Thomas. So, in your experience, what goes into that?
Man, go ahead, Greg.
You got it, Big Mac. I wasn't the biggest guy, the strongest guy. I probably would have lost a lot of the fight, so I didn't start the fight. Big Mac in the trenches, he was starting the fight, so we'll let him handle that one.
Yeah, we done got in a couple fights down there, especially with a guy like Chris Dillman playing beside you. You run into a couple of fights. It's like going with a guy who loves to get into the barroom brawls. That was Chris Dillman, and it's a part of football. But whenever you get heated with times, I could think of one time we were on the field and we were actually talking to the running back coach from the Chargers, and I got into a heated exchange for him, but only for the simple fact of the way he approached me. I felt like he was approaching me like I was a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At this level, we're all professionals. So you want to be treated with a level of respect. And sometimes when it comes off like somebody's disrespecting you, then tempers are going to flare. F-bombs are going to get thrown. I'm going to kick your ass about this. It is what it is. And some guys get so heated that you can't really come back from that. I'm one of those guys. By the time I get all the way there, you can't really turn me around, and in a heated exchange like that, I could see that happening, especially after, punches are thrown, a couple of F-bombs thrown out there.
They paid Michael Thomas $100 million. You're going to have a hard time disciplining a man that makes $100 million. I'll tell you that right now.
I mean, I think if there's a different head coach in New Orleans, I don't know that this happens, right? I mean, Sean Payton holds a certain amount of power, and I just don't think I could see a first-year head coach benching Michael Thomas for doing something like this in practice. What do you think, Greg?
If the key to being a head coach is having control and belief from the locker room. As soon as you lose control, and as soon as your players don't believe in you, it's a wrap. Like, fire you on the spot. If your players aren't on board with your message, and it must have been that bad where Sean Payton felt like, I have to control this situation. But man, controlling the locker room was taking that L for discipline. Whew, that's a tough call right there. I'm putting Michael Thomas in the game.
Well, my decision is completely opposite of your guys' decision, and I would have said bench him, I guess, because you have to keep that control. And believe me, I have him in fantasy football. I need him on that field for me playing.
Michael Thomas, what?
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking about it completely different. See, this is why we're doing this, because I'm thinking about it from 100,000-foot view, and you guys are thinking about it being there on the field.
Hey, but that's the fan perspective. You want him out there on your fantasy roster, yet you will take a fantasy L for Michael Thomas to be disciplined.
I didn't take an L, so it's all good. I was already winning, so I was good at the decision.
There is no way I want to take that bus ride, knowing that I have a weapon like Michael Thomas and not being able to use him, on the way to the game. I'm sorry. I don't care what he did. Put him in the game, coach. We need him. You see this man catch. He doesn't miss anything.
Yeah. Well, I love this. All right, here, let's go to our second big decision, and it has to do with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. I was pretty disappointed to see what happened with Dak on Sunday when he broke his ankle. That was a pretty horrific ankle break. First off, I just got to get your guys' thoughts on what happens when something like that injury-wise happens on the field, because I could see everybody around, scrambling for the trainers, but it just seems like a chaotic environment, and it kind of seems like it would be a little bit, your mind would be elsewhere after something like that happens. Marcus.
Oh, man. Coming from a guy who actually had an injury that ended my career, I felt so much compassion for Dak Prescott taking that ride off that field, because that ride on that cart is serious. That means that you can't hop it off, you can't walk it off, you need to be carted off. So you never want to see that for any one of my brothers who play football, anybody. Now, you don't really want to see it, but those things always happen in football. You hope that he got there. He had surgery that night. They took him straight into surgery. They said it was successful. So I hope that helps out the timetable for him. But it's a lot of things up in jeopardy. He was looking to get that payday.
He was, and that's what our big decision is going to be. And it's what should Jerry Jones and the Cowboys do? Should they sign him to a long-term contract? Should they franchise him again, which would be over $40 million? Should they just let him go in free agency? Greg, why don't you start and give us your thoughts on what Jerry Jones and the Cowboys should do?
Yeah, and Mac's a better person than me. He went to compassion for his injury. I thought, oh, man, he just lost $200 million.
Yeah.
Either way you look at it sucks. But, what do you do with Dak? So Jerry Jones tweeted out that Dak is our future, and he's still our future quarterback. But, you could miss me with all that, Gary. You would have paid him if he was your future. Dak has proven.
Wait, that's interesting though, because Jerry Jones has been leading this charge of Dak. We don't want to pay Dak as much as he wants, and now all of a sudden Dak gets injured, and it's the sympathetic part of him that comes out and tries to identify with the fans.
No, sympathetic. No, it's the PR. It's the PR point of Jerry Jones saying it. It's easy to say you can be our future. Well, if you wanted him to be your future, you would have paid him.
But what if he doesn't pay him now? Then he's a liar.
If I were him, I wouldn't pay Dak right now. That dude's leg got twisted sideways. His ankle was pointing the opposite direction. And if you look at, it probably won't be as bad as Alex Smith, but it's going to take, and again, I'm not a doctor, but from a player's perspective, the next year you come back from an injury, you're not the same. It's going to take basically 2 full seasons to come back because he's an explosive player that plays a lot with his strength. If you don't have the strength in the leg, it's not going to work out the same. So do I sign him to a long-term contract? The answer is no, unless I have some sort of injury protection, which Dak isn't going for right now. I don't franchise him. I'm not going to spend $40 million on him next year coming off an injury. And so your only options are to give him a lower contract or to let him go. And if I'm Dak, I'm going to find another place that's going to pay me. But he might have to do a Teddy Bridgewater approach where he takes a little less to find that right spot.
What do you think, Marcus? This is actually a really complex situation for the Cowboys.
It is. I think historically, Jerry has been one of those guys who, when he has a guy who is his guy, especially at the quarterback position, I've seen them keep them longer than sometimes they should. It's plenty of years that I felt like they should already made the transition from Tony Romo, and they just stayed with him. You definitely can't come and give him a big contract, but if you do come out and make a statement like he is our quarterback, now you have to double down on that. Now you have to come and show me this is my quarterback. I think he comes and says something like that, not so much we are for a PR standpoint, but to me, I think he's gonna try and get Dak at a discount now. It's really no way you can come to me and tell me that I can give you the same money that Mahomes is getting when I can't really see what the future of your leg is going to look like, so it's no way. So to be honest, I think that Jerry knows that he's going to be able to get, a better deal on Dak, and he's going to try and heal him up and make him his quarterback. But we've already saw that they have an experienced quarterback that can step in and play right now. Probably one of the best acquisitions they made this offseason to make sure that they had a backup quarterback.
Yeah, Andy Dalton.
Back the GM right there.
I know. Listen to that. That was good stuff right there. Do you guys think it was a mistake that Jerry came out and said that Dak's the quarterback of the future so soon after the injury? Because now I'm kind of thinking that was a mistake for him.
No, you got to. You have to. For the sake of your own team, for the sake of Dak, for the sake of your fans, you have to make that statement. But he can always go back later and say, we couldn't reach terms. We couldn't agree on terms like they did before and blame it on Dak. The Cowboys are PR machines. They can spin anything. And so it was the right statement to make. Now he just needs to back it up.
Yeah, I saw Marcus, you shaking your head, though. Did you disagree with do you think that Jerry Jones made a mistake?
You know what? I think that he was emotional, and when he said it. It happened so fast. He came out, and a lot of times you don't want to make, you don't want to make statements when you're filled with emotion, because like you say, you can turn around and then now you have to eat that. You have to sit there and come up with something else or spin it like Greg says to where it doesn't look that bad that you said this was our quarterback, but now you're going away from him, so that's just what that's what they're going to have to do. But I do think that he made a mistake by coming out and making a statement that early. He should have waited.
It's interesting. So my decision. Well, Greg says he doesn't really know what to do except for try to re-sign Dak. Is that correct?
You can't pay a man that's. Dak's got to go get his money. He tried hard to get his money before. They're not paying him. I think Dak needs to leave the Cowboys and go chase money.
What do you think, Marcus?
I don't think that he can go chase money right now with the leg he has, Greg. I'm sorry. I don't think he's going to go very far, and I say that as seriously as I can. Like, he's not in a position to, really leave right now. Like, he needs to solidify himself as a captain of that team. If anything, vocalize how he wants to step back into this role, work hard at rehabbing and getting back as soon as he can so that he can step back into this role. But I just don't see him going anywhere and getting any money. Like, I just don't see, to be honest, a lot of black quarterbacks getting up and going somewhere else and making a lot of money, unless they're in a position where they've already been winning and now their team gives them that money, or else you're going to end up in a situation like Cam is where I'm taking a 1-year deal in New England to prove myself again, and like you said, it's going to be 2 years before he comes back and is going to feel good on that leg. So now you're talking about a quarterback missing 2 years of experience. They coming and they rolling these guys in ready to play. So, I don't know if a quarterback really gets to come back from that, So I think the safest place for him is just to stay home.
And take a discount.
The Washington football team is going to sign Dak Prescott. They had the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl, signed Dak. There you go, the Washington football team and Dak Prescott.
You heard it. You heard it here first. Washington
football.
Way.
Don't do it. Don't do it. That's the black hole of quarterbacks.
That is very true. I mean, it didn't help Dak either, before we move on, it didn't help him either that his season didn't start as well record-wise. He was on pace for some incredible numbers and almost hitting 2,000 yards after 5 games, but I believe they were 1-3 before they ended up winning the game against the Giants. So if he was 4-0, maybe that's a different story. But there's, I guess, for my end of the decision, I'm with you, Marcus. You gotta stay in Dallas. You gotta stay in your system. You gotta stay with your fan base. And unfortunately, it sucks because he took the contract off the table to bet on himself to have a great year, and he was on his way to a great year. But it's just there's so many unknowns about Dak going forward that the only place he can be is the place that says that they want him.
I want to say too, I hope he had some sort of insurance on himself. Man. A lot of time players in contract years like this will actually put a certain amount of insurance on their body because, that is how you make your money. Yeah. So you protect your body. So you have, a big insurance policies from companies like Lloyd's of London and stuff that you can go and protect your body. So hopefully, he had the foresight to actually purchase that type of insurance, especially since he didn't get the long deal that he wanted to in front, and he knew he was just playing for 1 year. So things like this happen. Injuries, can't nobody really beat the injury bug.
Yeah, I remember Matt Leinart actually got insurance on himself when he went back to his senior year at USC instead of heading to the draft. So, yeah, I haven't heard anything like that.
The one piece of insurance is that $35 million he was making as a franchise quarterback. That'll hit his bank account and be all right. But I hear you, he lost a lot by getting injured.
Yeah, that was a tough one, man.
That was really tough, especially for fantasy players. Jeez, I mean, I needed him. He was 45 points a game, man. So to our last big decision. Now, you guys are both familiar with this guy. Marcus, you're definitely familiar with this guy. Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts. He's going to be a part of the big decision here. He hasn't been playing the greatest, but the team still is winning, and he's putting the team in bad spots. So, Greg, I know you really wanted to talk about this, and so we're going to start with you, but what do you think about Phillip as the quarterback of the Colts, and can you bench him?
Oh, man. So going into the season, I was excited for Phillip. So Big Mac and I both played with Phillip. Mac's job was to protect him for 6 years, and he did a great job of it. But the one thing we've seen Phillip, so, San Diego resident right here, we've watched the Chargers move to LA, so we still keep an eye on them. The problem with Rivers has been throwing picks, and it's hard to critique a man that you like a lot, but I'm, just going to be honest here. He didn't drop that problem. We thought it was an offensive line issue with the LA Chargers the last couple of years. He's got a better offensive line. He's still throwing game-changing picks. And so in a normal situation, I would have to bench a guy that throws 2 picks and takes a safety on a intentional grounding call. But the saving grace is Jacoby Brissett is his backup. We saw him for a year. He's not going to do any better. So you have no choice. You paid Phillip for a year. You keep Phillip in the game.
Yeah, based on me just watching him with the Chargers and everything, it looks like his arm is just not as strong as it even was last year. And it just seems like he's having trouble getting to throwing the balls into the windows that he used to be able to fit no problem. And I'm with you,
man. The Joe, the fan with the nice analysis right there.
I'm trying to feel smart, but I'm with you, Greg. You paid him a lot of money, so you got to play him, see what happens, and if you want to move away from him at the end of the year, you can. And if they go and do something crazy, then they do that too. But what do you think, Marcus? It might be a little tough for you because you have that familiarity with Phillip, but would you be able to bench him in Indianapolis?
Ooh, that's my boy now. It is tough, but I think you give him a chance to come in and do what he's supposed to. Phillip is known to really go on some good runs late in the year. I've always felt like he's been like a second half quarterback. So I think if they can, continue to play good through the first quarter and the second quarter of the season, and then kind of getting into November and December, with a decent record, I think that's when you really see him shine. But if he continues to throw interceptions and he continues to lose games, and throwing big time interceptions too, like at this point, I think you actually do, start setting up for the future. He has the offensive line right now. He has, weapons that he can go to. T.Y. Hilton's a great receiver. He just has to get it done, and I've seen those same interceptions with the Chargers, and now we're seeing them again this year, so.
That's what we're saying. Greg and I did a test podcast a month ago, and we're like, I was really hoping it was the Chargers, but it might not be the Chargers. It's actually Phillip Rivers. And I hate to say that because Phillip is a great guy.
It's hard to say it, but you could say the same thing about Tom Brady right now. There's a couple pick sixes he's thrown that are just bad old man throws, and it's just when you get old, things go. They're still playing football. Mac and I aren't even as old as them, and we're sitting on a couch.
Yeah, but you guys also didn't have a 15-yard penalty thrown for you every time someone breathed on you going back to pass. So that's another reason. Big Mac is what Greg calls him, is there in the trenches with the defensive linemen. Greg's going across the middle, and there's Phillip and Tom Brady just standing there. But you got to protect the quarterback. That's not the issue here. So that's it for the big decisions for this week, and we're going to move on to some of the other notes around the NFL because we had a few things come down here just today. Most recently was New York Jets running back Le'Veon Bell is no longer with the New York Jets. He is now a free man. He was released by the team, and it's been contentious ever since he signed there. I'm a little confused about what's going on with Le'Veon Bell and his temperament because he's the guy who chose the Jets. He knew what he was getting into, and I guess there was a GM change and all that stuff, but
it's great. He chose money. That's what he chose. We talked about that.
He did choose money, but now he's over it.
Le'Veon Bell chose money. That is the only decision that no one picks the Jets to win. He chose money, and I don't blame him. Go get paid, but he got his payday, and it's not working.
Yeah, but now he got what he wanted by leaving the team. He complained enough, I'm assuming, that he got his way out because they were trying to trade him, and everybody in the NFL, all the GMs are like, the Jets are going to release him, so why are we going to trade for him? So we're not going to do anything there. But really the question is, and now everybody is talking about it, is where should he play? There's plenty of places that are looking for some running backs. So Marcus, what do you think? Where do you think Le'Veon Bell will fit best going forward for the rest of this year?
Oh, that's a good one. I would like to see him go, somewhere where you already have a back and you kind of set up a stable, somebody who's a contender who has a back where you can kind of have that 1-2 punch. I told you guys a little bit earlier, I really like Carolina, and I know it seems a little odd, but if you have like two backs like that, McCaffrey and Le'Veon Bell in the same backfield, McCaffrey does so much stuff out the backfield. Le'Veon Bell is already, to me, he's more built like that every down back that you need. I think that can be really tough on defenses, kind of like that 1-2 punch that Cleveland Browns had before Chubb, Nick Chubb went down. It's like, I don't just have one horse in the stable. I got two, so you got one.
The best backfield, too. Instantly the best backfield. So, Carolina needs, something to make a push, to make it throughout that division. So I feel like if you add some more firepower to a team like that, then they can make a little bit of noise down there in the NFC South. And they signed Teddy Bridgewater who could be a franchise QB for less than franchise QB money, which frees up money to spend on a monster backfield like that.
Mm-hmm. That would be very interesting, the Carolina Panthers. They would turn that around really quick. Greg, where do you think he should go?
All right, I'm going to give you two things. The first one.
All right, let's go. I'm going to sit down.
The first one is an actual case study. Dwight Howard as a
Leave it to a Stanford guy, by the way, to bring in a case study to a podcast.
Yeah. I like evidence. I like evidence. So Dwight Howard, I'm a Laker fan, came to the Lakers, 5-6 years ago and was trash. He was supposed to be the next Shaq, came in, sucked. Nobody liked him. He didn't try hard, left the team, came back this year. And it takes a little, you have to drop your ego to come back to a team where you sucked the first time. He came back with a great attitude, was a great teammate, won a championship. Le'Veon Bell can do the same thing in Pittsburgh.
What?
But go back to Pittsburgh.
It's going to drop the ego. Pittsburgh's undefeated. Big Ben has 1-2 more years, one run. They have, that puts them over the top. And then instantly they become the best backfield and then the best offense. But that takes Le'Veon dropping his ego. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, I don't know that that's going to happen.
You got a better chance of the Chargers coming back to San
Diego. Damn, man.
You know what? I will always tell this story about Le'Veon Bell. I was at the Super Bowl Radio Row in Minnesota, and he was walking by. And you know what that guy did? He was eating French fries, and he just put his container on my table and walked off like my table was the trash table. And ever since then, I've been out.
There's a case study for why he can't drop his ego right there from Scraby.
Because he
my realistic home for him is with Danger Russ in the 12th man in Seattle, the Seahawks.
Ooh.
They have an explosive offense. If you give Russ another weapon, that turns them into a true Super Bowl contender. And so, to see him out there with Russ and DK Metcalf, watch out.
That's
That would
scary.
be really good. What do you think, Marcus, about Seattle?
That would be scary in Seattle. I'm not gonna lie. If you got a back like Le'Veon Bell, you already got DK Metcalf. It was like a man amongst children out there, a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you don't know what to do with Russell Wilson anyway. Like, anyway, you definitely a Super Bowl contending team right there. Instant.
I don't want that to happen. I'm a huge 49ers fan, always have been, always will be, and I do not want Le'Veon Bell as a Seattle Seahawk. I don't think the 49ers are going anywhere this year, but I just don't want it. Like some of the other teams that we talked about beforehand were the Chargers, the Cardinals, the Buccaneers, the Bears, the Bills, maybe even the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs is a really good spot for him because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a rookie, and he's taken a little bit of time now to kind of find his role in this Chiefs offense, but Le'Veon Bell can step right in and just take over.
Yeah, you think Patrick Mahomes with another weapon? Ooh, man, that's a scary thought. It could go back to back real easy if they had Le'Veon.
Real easy.
So another news and note from the NFL: Tom Brady. Now, there's two things about his Thursday night football game I want to talk about real quick, and it's him not knowing fourth down. He swears up and down that he knew it was he knew what down it was, but I'm convinced that he didn't know what down it was. And as someone who is watching on my couch, I know what down it is. So how the hell does Tom Brady not know what down is? The greatest quarterback of all time.
Scraby, you got it right there on your screen. That's how you know it's fourth down. It's fourth and 8 or whatever it is.
Oh, true. True. Sorry about that. I mean, have you guys ever been on the field with something like that before, where your quarterback forgets what down it was?
Yeah, I can't say I've forgotten what down it is, but I've definitely been in situations where you don't realize there's like 10 seconds left. You think there's 45 seconds left. It's easy to mess up, and I guarantee he is covering up for his mistake. He did not know his fourth down. Who holds up four fingers after they just lost the game? He just messed up. But one thing here, I'll tell you this about football players. On Sunday, when you make a mistake, you're already mentally preparing your excuse for meetings on Monday. It's something terrible. What kind of lie can I make up to make it sound better to coach? And so Tom was doing that same thing. Okay, I got my excuse ready.
That's actually really funny because we all do the same thing. Like if I make a mistake, I'm instantly thinking about how can I make this better so it doesn't look so terrible. And that's funny that Tom Brady on TV being asked the questions after, and then Bruce Arians, they asked him after the game, did he know what down it was? He's like, yep, he knew what down it was. Okay, well, case closed then. Tom Brady knew what down it was. What do you think, Marcus, about him forgetting what down it was?
I mean, so I didn't want to say this, but I've been in the huddle, not the down, but I know for a fact guys forget plays, and, and maybe you forget a play or you didn't hear it because like our huddles was always hilarious. So we in there cracking jokes and stuff like that, and then next thing you know, break the huddle and Gates ain't heard the play, but I'm not going to tell him until the last second because I like to make him sweat a little bit.
Wait a second. You're telling me that during a game, Antonio Gates looks at you, he doesn't know the play, and you're making him sweat?
Yes.
That is hilarious.
That's just blocking right there. That's what that is, man.
It's just blocking plays because he didn't care about blocking. He just wanted to catch anyway. So when he had to come inside and block, I want to make him sweat like, who we got? Who we got, bro? No. Here, wait.
See, it's easier, I guess, for blocking assignments to be like from a fan's perspective, watching the game, when a receiver screws up and runs the wrong route because it ends up in an interception most of the time. But with the linemen, I guess you could kind of fudge it that you knew what you were doing if you find some guy to block, right?
Yeah. And receivers, if we don't know it when we break the huddle, you'll see us screaming for help because we got to run 20 yards to go get lined up. The big guy's got time.
Oh, that sounds like a terrible place to be, not knowing the play, and then the ball snapped. And then you're like, what do I do now?
It works. You look bad, too, when that happens.
Yeah.
You look worse. You look bad.
What's worse, the embarrassment of doing that in front of the fans? I think I know what you guys are going to say, but your embarrassment of doing that in front of the fans or film room?
Oh man, I think the key is whatever you do, whatever you make up for that play, just do it fast. Because if you do it half-assed, you're going to get double made fun of. So if it's a run block and I run a hell of a route, they're going to make fun of me. But at least it was a great route.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Go ahead.
You definitely don't want to come in our film room making mistakes. I'm sorry. Like we on you. We on your bumper. We on your bumper right now.
Oh, I love this already. This is so good. What about Tom Brady not shaking hands with Nick Foles? Now, I personally think he was playing the COVID card and he wasn't supposed to go fraternize after the game. I also think there's a little bit of spite behind Tom Brady. There's a little bit of Tom Brady I just can't stand, and it's that whole jerk side to him that he yells at everyone and then he holds up four fingers like he knows what down it is and he loses the game after he's yelling at his guys. So would that bother you guys if someone didn't come to see you guys, or you know what I'm talking about? I know you guys aren't searching out Tom Brady or anything like that, but what do you guys think about it?
Did Tom Brady leave his French fries on your table too?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But he might as well have.
Because it sounds like you got a little animosity built up towards Tom.
Well, you know what? Tom's been crushing everyone for years, and I'm tired of it. And I'm happy to see some sort of negative things happening on the football field. Yeah, I know, Greg. What do you think, Greg? I know you love Tom Brady.
I despise everything New England Patriots. So last year I despised him. This year, I want him to win, so that makes the Patriots look bad because I despise the Patriots, not Tom Brady.
So, what do you think with this whole Nick Foles thing? Do you think do you think the fans are blowing it out of proportion?
So we saw the Gilmore, the cornerback from the Patriots, tested positive, and what did ESPN do? They played all the videos of him hugging Patrick Mahomes after a game. If there's one thing that's going to stop the Bucs, it's Brady getting a virus, because he can't have it. There's no winning without Tom Brady as your quarterback in Tampa Bay. Yeah. Protect him at all costs during the game. Protect him at all costs during the handshakes after the game. Straight to the locker room, Tom. Straight to your room for quarantine.
Yeah. What do you think, Marcus?
I think it's a little bit of COVID is a little bit of an excuse. You're literally out there playing football. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like, but you can't give me a handshake. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. Like you've been touching people all game. You've been getting sacked. You know what I'm saying? Tackled. Like people are breathing on you. You're in the huddle already. Like, there's no way.
Fingers.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, trying to get right. Come on, there's too much stuff going on in football for you to be worried about a handshake at the end of the game. But you lose a close game like that, you're gonna be mad. Sometimes I don't feel like talking to the people I just lost to.
Yeah, that's true.
I have that right, like I'm still upset. I don't want to say anything. I might hurt your feelings.
Well, Nick Foles has one thing he could always remember, and that's that he owns Tom Brady because he's 2-0 against him, and not many people could say that. Oh. Now, I'm really curious about this one because this season with the schedule has been insane. They've moved weeks around. They've moved week 10 up to week 6. They just recently moved the Patriots and Broncos from Monday and they moved it back to the following Monday so that the Broncos, all of a sudden, after practicing all week, are now in their bye week the day before a game. I know Melvin Gordon was super mad about it because he was like, what the heck is this? This is my bye week, and I'm not getting a bye week. So, Greg, what do you think about this whole scheduling that the NFL is doing and taking away people's bye weeks and just throwing it on them?
I'd be pissed. Absolutely pissed. I would do exactly what Melvin Gordon did. Don't take away my bye week is my mental break. It is my physical break. As soon as I saw a bye week on a schedule, I'm planning a trip. Like, I'm thinking, where can I go? How many days is coach gonna give me off? Because not only I need to rest, I need to sit back and have a beverage. I need to be on a beach somewhere. And then the thing that would make me the most angry, all right, Cam Newton got COVID. That could happen to anyone, no problem. Somebody in Tennessee got COVID. And these slappies went and held a practice outside of their facility.
At a high school.
Are you kidding me? Like, that right there tells me that's your problem, not my problem. Don't take away my bye week, man. Make those guys forfeit. Don't reschedule me because they're being idiots.
But here's the thing, like I was reading earlier in the week that if they were to forfeit the game, then the other team wouldn't get paid. So how does that work? Because it was against the Bills, and the Bills players were like, wait a second, we'll take the W, but we'll also take our paycheck with it. We're not going to give up our paycheck for the W. So
Damn you, Scrappy, making me live in the real world, man. That's hard to figure out when you actually bring in things like that. Yeah, that's tough because I want to get paid too. How about you? Oh God, Scrappy, you just killed me, man. I don't know what you do, but
there's got to be like a fund that the NFL should have set up before. I mean, the NFL has billions of dollars. I think they're okay with forfeiting a week's worth of checks for one team, but
yeah. What I think they should do is push the Super Bowl back and push the playoffs back at least 1 or 2 weeks to buy time, because this is going to happen again.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't take Dr. Fauci to tell us this is going to happen again. It's going to happen again. But instead of switching everyone's schedule, just make an extra gap week in the playoffs where you're going to put those extra games in. And I know that could end up being, the Jets versus the Dolphins in week 18 when nobody wants to watch, but at least they can get paid for that.
That's true. Marcus, I have a feeling you would be pretty pissed if they took away your bye week.
Oh man, you know what? I would be pissed, but this year been such hell. Like, I don't think you can really be mad at anything that you're trying to do to salvage a season. You know, like it's amazing to me that they actually are playing. You know, or I really, we all knew that football was not happen this year. It's like COVID. What, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's football season. Like, that's how I felt like people felt out there. You know, it's like, this is football season. Like, there is no way we can't have football season almost. But like, you have to kind of, like, with this crazy year, it's been a roller coaster. So I think you just have to adapt to it. You know, it sucks, you know what I'm saying? Because like Greg said, like, I got my trips planned. You know, that last practice we have, I'm trying to catch that 2:30 flight from California because, you know, or else I'm on the red eye, you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at the clock and like, hey, coach, I got to be out of here by 12:30. You know, so I can get this Delta flight. It's 2:30. It's the last one for red eye. I'm trying to get out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know. Oh, you know what? Funny story real quick. Just side note. So it's our bye week one time, and we're sitting around in the huddle, just kind of like talking about where we're going. Everybody talking about, you know, I'm like, Gates, where you going? You know, he like, I don't think I'm gonna go back to Detroit. I tell him, like, yeah, I'm going back to Atlanta. You know, so I'm asking what time his flights leave because it's getting close. So I'm like, you know, he like, man, my flight at like 1:30. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? Mine like 1:45. It's already 12. Man, come on, coach, we got to get out of here, right? So we turn to LT and say, hey, T, what you doing? We going back? Where you going? He said, oh, I'm probably going to go back to Texas. Oh, what time your flight leave? When I get there.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Different kind of flight.
What you mean? What you mean when you get there? Yeah, I got to tell the pilot what time we going to leave and stuff like
oh, man.
You know, man, ain't nobody talking to you no more, man. You're
that is really good. He dropped PJ on you. He was like, yeah, I just got my private jet.
And now you know why they don't know the play, because that's the conversation they're having in the huddle. Who am I blocking? I don't know, but LT got a private jet.
I'm trying to be getting these lemon pepper wings today. I got to get back to Atlanta.
As you're going through security, LT is being carried on like a throne to his plane.
Yeah, like a throne. Exactly. That's how it works, though, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, they give me a small economy seat in the back, you know what I'm saying? And LT has like this big, lavish, you know what I'm saying, plane, you know, Air Force One, you know what I mean? That's what I'm riding on. I told him just give me a parachute. He could have just dropped me off, you know what I'm saying, halfway or something. I'd have made it.
Oh, man.
Just jump out of the plane. Who cares? So we got one more of these topics before we move into our rapid fire segment. Greg, which one do you want to talk about most on the list right here? Because
oh, man. I'm looking at this list.
Alex Smith making his horrific return after injury. Browns for real. Texans playing better.
I like the Mike Zimmer debate because that was
Okay.
all over the radio today.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer, the head coach of the Vikings, I feel like he should be on the hot seat. This Vikings team is picked to go to the Super Bowl every single year, and every single year they're doing something to undermine, I guess, to not make it to the playoffs or not make it to the Super Bowl. But really what the decision was that he made on Sunday night against the Seahawks was they were down deep in Seattle territory. And he decided he could kick the field goal to go up by 8 with, just over 2 minutes to go or just around there, or he could go for it on 4th and short and risk giving Russell Wilson back the ball to make a game-winning drive. I kick the field goal every single time, in my opinion, just because Russell Wilson is the MVP of the league right now. So Mike Zimmer ended up going for it on 4th and short. They got stopped and gave Russell Wilson the ball back. He drove down the field, won the game for the Seahawks. So, I mean, I'm feeling like Mike Zimmer has to be on the hot seat, and I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about that.
Yeah, as a player, as an offensive player, I love that decision. And I'm looking at it as two ways. It's 4th and 1. You got 1 yard to get. We are going to play to win and go for it, or we're going to play not to lose and kick the field goal and be up 8. As an offensive guy, I want the coach to have all the faith in the offense. I want to play to win. Let's go for it. And then in addition to that, there's one thing you know about Russell Wilson. Do not give him a chance for a comeback. The only way to not give him a chance for a comeback was to hold on to the ball. Get that first down, get that 1 yard. Russ doesn't touch the ball. Game over. If you kick a field goal and go up 8, you're still giving Russ that ball with a chance to come tie the game up. I love the decision. If you can't get 1 yard, you don't deserve to win anyway.
Wow. What do you? Well, you're an offensive lineman, Marcus. I mean, I know exactly what you're going to say. Go for it. Is that right?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Oh, I thought for sure it was the other way.
No, let me tell you what happened. Now, if I got Dalvin Cook in the backfield, for that 4th and 1, absolutely hand it off to the big dog and let him get it right. But, with him not being in the backfield, I would have opted to, actually go ahead and kick the field goal. You up 8, but now you force them, to get a 2-point conversion twice. So it's not like they coming back and score. They have to actually score twice in a row, And Greg, you're an offensive player. Like, that's not really always that easy. Like, you're not going to just throw the ball into the end zone, twice in a row all the time. That's what the defense is out there for. So, I think you go ahead and kick the field goal because I don't have my running back there, even though analytics actually said that it was a 98% chance that if he went for it, that, he would get it, they would win the game. And actually a less of a chance if he kicked the field goal with like 97.8%, that if he kicked the field goal, they would win the game. So he actually made the right decision, and I think he doubled down today in his interview when he said it.
Yeah. I got to say something about analytics in football real quick. I don't think it translates like it does in baseball because it doesn't take into account the different things that have happened throughout the game, someone getting beat up during the game, just not feeling the best at the end. But like baseball, they get 600 at bats a year. It's going to, on average, is going to go 20% of the time this way, and that's easy to tell. So I would throw analytics out the window. I don't know why these guys want to do analytics, and it just really, I don't know. How does it feel for you guys after your head coach makes the decision and it ends up being the wrong decision? I assume you guys just stomach it, and because he's your head coach and whatever he says goes. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he put it on, as an offensive player, he put it on us. And it's our fault that we didn't get that first down. The coach gave us the chance to go win the game, and we failed. Now, if he doesn't give us that chance, then I got all the opportunities in the world to criticize him. But he gave me that shot. We didn't get it. That's my problem, not his problem.
Interesting. That is really interesting.
9 times out of 10, run the ball behind me on 4th and 1. That's how
That was the problem. He didn't go behind Big Mac.
I mean, I think you guys did pretty well for yourselves with Danny and Tomlinson in the backfield. So one of the best lines right there.
They got him that's what they did.
Yeah.
They could have given you a ride, for the 31 touchdown.
Yeah, what the heck? He could have taken everyone on his Air Force One and just gone somewhere.
he treated us well though, so I can't even complain. That's my boy.
All right. So now we're going to move to the last segment that we're going to do. It's called Rapid Fire. It's really easy, and it's just for you guys. And I'm going to alternate between you two, but I'm going to give you guys a name or like a team or something like that, and you give me the first word that comes to mind. So I'm going to start. Greg, you're going to be up first, and our first rapid fire is Jimmy G.
Pretty boy.
Ah, what?
It has
Marcus?
nothing to do with football, man. That's one thing you learn from Tom Brady.
I was gonna say head and shoulders. I don't know.
Really?
Hey, man, he learned from Tom Brady how to be a good-looking quarterback. He didn't learn how to be the best quarterback, but he's doing a good job of being good-looking and being a quarterback.
Oh, wow. Do you guys think well, now I'm asking personally for your opinions. Is Jimmy G actually a good quarterback?
Good enough.
Marcus, you got anything?
Jimmy, he's a solid quarterback for their team.
Thank you. I'll take it.
He compliments the team well. He compliments the team.
All right. So, Marcus, you're up first for this one on the rapid fire. Tom Brady.
Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, wow.
Why is Mark Wahlberg the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh, that's great.
I'm seeing it's a movie. What was it, Ted? And I'm just seeing them like sitting there obsessing over Tom Brady in the movie. You know what I'm saying? And like everybody in Boston just being so in love with him, and just Mark being like Mr. Boston. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of went together for me.
That is really funny. Greg, Tom Brady.
I mean, I can't even give an answer after that. He won.
Yeah.
I mean, when I see Tom Brady, I think GOAT. I mean, I hate the Patriots and I hate them winning so much, but nobody's done it better than Tom.
All right, Greg, you're back up. Tennessee Titans.
Derrick Henry. Oh, my goodness. Did you see that stiff arm that he put on Josh Norman? He
sure did.
Josh Norman can't go home tonight. Like, he can't go – if he has a wife and kids, he can't go home after that happening. My goodness, Derrick Henry is a man. So first of all, Derrick Henry is the size of Big Mac, like literally, some close. But
that's a big man.
He's a huge human being. I've played against him in person. He is a monster. And this dude, that's what the Tennessee Titans are. They are centered around Derrick Henry, and rightfully so.
Marcus, Tennessee Titans.
Derrick Henry stiff arm. I'm like. It's like the only thing that's on my mind. I can't even really see anything else Tennessee Titans besides, Josh Norman being flung across the field right now. Why this man runs him over.
Yeah, Josh Norman kind of deserved it because he was talking a lot early in his career, at least a couple years ago. So I'm happy to see Josh Norman fly across the field. If you didn't see that stiff arm, go check it out. Just type in Derrick Henry stiff arm, wherever platform it is, and you'll find it. All right, Marcus, you're up first here. Dak Prescott.
Ooh, long road ahead. That's that's.
Man, I brought down the room with this one.
Yeah, it kind of shies in the foot with this one.
Long road ahead, Marcus says.
Yeah, long road ahead. I can't.
Yeah. Greg, what do you got to say about Dak Prescott in one word or phrase? Sorry?
Damn. That's all I got. Damn. Could have got paid. Damn. Could have gone out there. I mean, they weren't on a track to win the Super Bowl. They were supposed to. It just, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. All right, let's go something happy. Greg, DK Metcalf.
Man, like M-A-N. He is a man. 6'4", 240, runs a 4.33. Glorious hand. Like, man, you pair him with Russ, he is the man. He's built like a man. He catches like a man. He is the man.
Marcus, DK Metcalf.
Underrated. I think he has the potential to be one of the best receivers in the league, if not, the top 5. Simply because of the things that Greg said. He's a man out there, but people don't realize how fast he is. He's clocking a 4.3 at this size. Like it's hard enough for you to actually defend this guy because of his size, but then he's running a 4.3 at that. That has to put a lot of pressure on you. It's like you have to try and get position on him and beat him in a foot race. Come on, man. It's a long day for every cornerback in the league.
nightmare.
They call Kenny Galladay from the Lions. They call him Babytron. Like, can we just strip him of the name anything Tron and just give Megatron to DK Metcalf? I think DK Metcalf. I mean, you guys probably played against Calvin Johnson. They're probably like exactly the same.
Yeah, I think Calvin Johnson was like taller and longer, but the same thing. Nightmare of a matchup. Like, you literally can't guard him with one human being. And hopefully he'll stick around a little longer than Megatron and, you know, what Detroit does to people's careers.
Megatron 2.0.
Yeah, Megatron 2.0. All right, Marcus, you're up first here. Russell Wilson.
Sierra.
That's an Atlanta guy right there.
Yeah, that is true. Greg.
Shout out, Russ.
Greg, Russell Wilson.
MVP. The man's never received an MVP vote. He is playing out of his mind right now. Through 5 games, he is the MVP.
You know, Chris Collinsworth said that he's the guy who he should have sent in his MVP vote for Russell Wilson, but he was too late, and so that's why he's never gotten an MVP vote. So Chris Collinsworth putting himself up there on the pedestal right there.
Yeah.
Greg, 2 more. Andy Reid.
Walrus. I cannot help but see a walrus every time I see him. He's great at what he does, but damn, he looks like a walrus.
Marcus, Andy Reid.
Not quite Bill Belichick.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. He's a great one, but I don't quite think he's gonna get, checked. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna get him. Yeah.
No. That's a really good one. All right, last one, and we talked about him already, but Marcus, what do you think? Mike Zimmer.
Go for it.
Greg?
Missing Stephon Diggs. That's the difference in that offense. And Mike Zimmer, his job is on the line, and you see what Stephon Diggs is doing in Buffalo. They miss him in Minnesota.
All right, that was it for Rapid Fire, and that's it for the podcast. I had a great time, and this is 2 pros and a Joe. Like we said at the beginning, we're trying to bring a professional's perspective from 2 guys who played the game, and then we're trying to bring a fan's perspective, and I'm going to try to put in some smart analysis here and there, but I think we're going to just keep doing this and see where it goes. So appreciate you both being here, and we'll put this up, and if anybody has any feedback for us, then let us know. Let us know what we can do to be better. So that's all I got. You guys got anything in closing?
No, we'll be back.
All right.
Man, just keep checking us out, man.
Until next time, 2 pros and a Joe.